This video will cover stereotyping. We'll learn what stereotyping is and then talk about ways to avoid stereotyping in the public speaking context. A definition for stereotypes is on your screen. Take a second to write it down in your notes. You can pause the video if you need more time. So, stereotypes are preconceived notions about how individuals from particular groups will look and act. We start learning stereotypes at a very young age as we interact with parents, family members, friends, the media, as well as other groups that we belong to. We tend to rely more heavily on our stereotypes when we encounter groups that we haven't had much contact with or don't know much about. This makes sense because once we get to know more about a group of people, we can come to know the individuals who belong to that group, and we can come to know them for the traits they, as individuals, actually hold rather than the traits we assume they hold. When we meet people who, individually, challenge the stereotypes we hold, we hopefully allow that stereotype to change and adapt with the new knowledge we have. In public speaking, stereotypes can be problematic when we target our message to an audience that we know stereotypically. Take, for example, college students. If you target your audience assuming they are mostly, quote, typical college students, and you suggest that they all know what it's like to drink on the weekends, you run the risk of excluding those students who don't conform to those stereotypical norms. In fact, you might so greatly offend the student who is tired of people always assuming he spends every weekend drunk that he doesn't listen to the rest of your message because all he's focused on is how annoyed he is that people always assume he spends every weekend trashed. So, how do you make sure you aren't stereotyping your audience? You do a thorough job with audience analysis. The more you can learn about the actual individuals who make up your audience, the better you can format your message to the specific people who are in the room with you. Knowing that you can't always know everyone in the room, think about a forum speech at UWEC. Students, faculty, and community members come to hear a speaker who likely is never and will never interact individually with the majority of people in the room. You also need to make sure you are recognizing when something you say might be overly reliant on stereotypes that may not fit the whole audience. Then, you can recognize your use of stereotypes and qualify your stereotypical statement by indicating that you recognize not all people might identify with the scenario you're presenting. Going back to the college student example, you could say, I know it's likely that not everyone in the room drinks, but many of you likely know what it's like to spend an evening out drinking with friends. The statement qualifies your stereotype, which could help you retain the attention of your audience. Additionally, you could use audience analysis to identify any actual events that might have happened that could unify your audience. If you're a UWEC forum speaker, you could look to events that have happened at UWEC or in the Chippewa Valley and target your messages to an audience who has shared those experiences. Those things actually happen to a community, so you're relying on actual events rather than stereotypes about people in a community. For instance, all Wisconsinites love cheese.